Now, 6 minority parties have formed what they call a Super Pact to contest the 2024 national and provincial elections as one party. They are the African People's Convention, the Congress of the People, African Independent Congress, and the National Freedom Party. Now, this Super Pact comes just months after the multi-party charter was formed, comprising 8 opposition parties. Now, all these formations are aiming at toppling the ANC from government. Let's discuss this now with Roger Southall, Professor Emeritus of Sociology at Wits University. Prof, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. Voters are going to be very confused about all these coalitions that are already coming together. I wonder what this latest move by this group of minority parties to form one entity to contest next year's elections means for us as voters.
I think a cynical answer would be not really terribly much because, as you mentioned in your introduction, these are all rather small parties without much established identity, and their coming together, I suspect, is not going to make a huge impact. I think compared with the multi-party charter group, they simply don't have the profile that is needed to really start dislodging the ANC.
Yeah. You think about, sorry to come in there, Prof, you think about the APC. I think the man we know from the APC is Themba Godi, the former chairperson of the SCOPA, the Standing Committee of Public Accounts in Parliament. Then we've got COPE, Congress of the People, that with much fanfare was set up in 2008 after Thabo Mbeki was ousted as president of the ANC. That ushered in the Jacob Zuma era. And then we've got the NFP a little bit here and there, and the AIC. Not really much to go with, but maybe we'll have to wait and see what they will promise the voters.
Well, yes. I think they've got to come up with some sort of program which really singles them out from the other opposition parties and obviously from the ANC. The whole point is here that the smaller parties, and I'm excluding from that the multi-charter group, the smaller parties are competing for about 6% of the vote. And the number of political parties in South Africa now is mushroomed, and there's going to be a huge talk about confusing the voters. There's going to be a huge list of parties on the ballot paper. So you really, if you're in that sort of scramble, you've really got to identify yourself. And as you suggest, the parties like the COPE and the NFP have been declining for some years. And I suppose that while you may say that this move is constructive, it's also perhaps a sign of their desperation.
Yeah, because you think if you wanted to remove ANC from power or defeat the ANC in the polls, you would consider being part of the multi-party charter simply because it's got some of the most it's got some of the most powerful and strongest parties, like the DA, like the African Christian Democratic Party, which joined just last Thursday, like the IFP, like the Action SA, Freedom Front Plus, and you've got those parties that can sort of carry you. But they are not going to be contesting as one party. That's the multi-party charter. They'll agree after the performance how to coalesce or work together if they get the required number of votes. Do you think this could be the end of these smaller parties, for example? I'm just thinking now, what they have to design a new logo, a new name, and to socialize it's going to cost money. I just wonder the size of these parties, if they'll be able to really carry this through.
Well, we shall see what they might do. As I've said before, to repeat myself, I rather suspect it's not going to make a huge impact. They've really got a heck of a lot of work to do to really distinguish themselves, as I say, from either the multi-party charter group or from the ANC. And I think it's quite an uphill battle. Many of these small parties which are springing up are essentially vehicles of individuals or very small groupings. And they simply don't have I simply can't see them appealing to a significant proportion of the electorate.
Yeah, you've just made an interesting point there. which is that many of these new ones are also individual initiatives. I mean, if you think about the new ones that have been formed, they are not that big. So it's likely, therefore, depending how they present themselves with their manifestos, once we know the date of the elections, as soon as the president has proclaimed it, that we are going to really still see the big guns of politics still making waves, the ANC, the DA, the IFP, the EFF, and so on. What are your thoughts, Prof?
Well, I suspect if you're looking at it as rather like the Premier League, you've got 6 parties at the top, and the rest have to feed for scraps. Even the smaller parties in that 6, the Freedom Front Plus and the another one's it slipped my memory for the moment, but they're only getting 2.4, 2.2% of the vote, and it's really the big 4 which dominate: the DA, IFP, EFF, and of course the ANC. They take the majority of the vote as we see the votes cast. The way in which these parties perhaps could increase their proportion is if the number of registered voters increases. But many people are suspecting that the level of registration is going to stay at the same or even decrease. The population is increasing. The money and the effort for registration is, I suspect, not going to increase from last time round. And it is very likely the voter turnout is going to decrease as well, because people are losing enthusiasm for the existing party setup. So I think these parties, whilst it may be in the interest to combine, and that's probably sensible in the position they're in, is again likely to have little impact. They really have a huge fight on their hands to make a serious impact.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You make the point, the top 6, we have a top 6 type. We've got the top 4 there who are going to be competing. Thank you very much for your time, Prof. That's Roger Southall, Emeritus Professor of Sociology at Wits University.